This is my Project Epic trail truck, and in the previous video I did a full rebuild on this car to make sure everything works properly and this car drives as it should. But today it's time for the fun part and we can start modifying this thing, so let's get to it. Alright, so the first and most important thing to get this car to look like the car that inspired this build is to get the right body for it. So I got myself this Jeep Cherokee body, and as you can see it comes in all sorts of parts and I have to assemble it all myself. And I think it's just a case of screwing everything together, so I think I'll do that off camera because it's pretty self-explanatory, and everything that's a bit unusual or different I'll show you guys. And indeed, for the most part it was just a case of screwing everything together except for the windows, because the windows you had to glue in and all the other detailed bits as well, but the windows were a bit of a problem and I kind of messed up because I used super glue, and super glue gives some sort of white residue on the transparent plastics. I've tried to polish it all out and it looks kind of alright at the moment. It's still far from perfect, but it's way better than it was before. I might try to make it better in the future, but I just wanted to continue on with the video. So now what I have to do is find out a way to mount the interior inside the body. And then we gotta figure out how we're gonna mount it onto the car. So for mounting the interior I was thinking, because it has to sit inside here obviously, and you have these two things, whatever you call them, I don't know, but you can put screws in there because there are holes in it. And this interior fits perfectly in there. It might actually be made for it, but there was nothing in the instructions about the interior. But I think this is the perfect place. Just make some holes inside the interior panel and then I could just screw it on. So I'm going to make the holes, screw it in, and then we can start to figure out how we're going to mount it onto the car. So those are the first two screws in, and at first I was only going to use these, but I just realized that underneath here are two more holes for screws. So I can actually make two extra holes in here and screw it also in the front to give it a little more security, because this is not that great. So let's see, where are those holes? That should be good. Alright, so now it's fully in there. That's going to be pretty cool. And before you guys start yelling at me, yes, there is some protection foil on this piece still, so I'm going to take it out and remove that foil so it looks a bit cleaner and a bit nicer. So let's do that. Alright, so here we go. Gotta get a nice peel. Oh no. It's already kind of scratched here from the inside of the body, but hey. Alright, there it is. Without the foil. I do think the seats are a little blank, little empty. So I might try, if I have a little Sharpie or something, and make some black lines in it to give the seats a little more detail, because this is a little bit too basic. So yeah, I'll see if I have something, or I'll do that somewhere in the future. Alright, there we have it. It's far from perfect, but at least it gives a little more depth into the interior, into the seats. So yeah, I think it's good like this. Maybe in the future I'll try to make it better, but for now I like it. Just that extra bit of depth when you look from the windows into the interior. Right, so the interior is in with the details, and I really think this looks way better. You can clearly see it's done with just a Sharpie by hand, but still I think this is way better than it was before. I love it. Alright, so now it's time to go and figure out how I'm going to put this body onto this car. And I already found out one problem with fitting this body onto the car, and that is this bumper. Because this is the bumper that came with this body. But if you put this on, it interferes with this bumper here on the rear of the car. So there was a bit of a choice I had to make. Am I going to use this bumper in the rear or the bumper on the car? And I think I'm just going to use this bumper because it gives a little more protection in the rear. Because it just part of the car and not of the body. So if I crash in the rear, nothing will really happen, and when I use this bumper, I will crash with the rear end of the body and I might break the body, which you don't want. But other than that, I don't really know how I'm going to do this. With the body came these brackets, which you could use to mount the body, but I think these were meant to be used on an actual SEX10, but this is something completely different, so that's not going to work the exact same way. But I'm just going to fiddle around with these and see what I can come up with, and if I have an idea, I will show you guys. So one more thing I do already know is I'm not going to use the body posts that are on this car, because this is quite an expensive and detailed body, and I obviously don't want to destroy it by making holes for these body posts. And also this body is really thick, so these body posts wouldn't really work ideal. So ideally I would do something with magnets or something, but yeah, I'll show you when I come up with something. Yo, future editing me here. Sorry to interrupt your video, but I've had some slight issues with the footage. So the next clip I was going to put in the video was where I show you guys what body mounting system I came up with. But for some reason that clip is completely gone. No idea where it is. A couple other clips that came after that, they're just gone. I have no idea where they are. But yeah, just to tell you quickly what I came up with. I came up with a kind of magnetic body mounting system using the magnets from what used to be my on-road street basher, which in another series I built it in a rally car. If you want to see that, I'll put a link to that in the description. This car right here. So I used the magnets from that car and put them on the supplied body mounts that came with the body. And with that I figured out some kind of system that kind of works. And after that I was going to try to put a winch on the bumper of the car as well. So that is what the next clip is all about. So yeah, sorry for this inconvenience, but enjoy the rest of the video where I'll put a winch and a couple more upgrades on the car. This bumper isn't actually made to put a winch on, but I think it could work. But as you can see, it's really tight and really small, and the winch doesn't sit quite straight and it's not really symmetrical, but I think it's worth it nonetheless. So I think I'll put it right here. I have to drill some holes in the bumper to mount this mounting bracket, and yeah, then it will sit like this. So yeah, let's make some holes and put this winch on, and voila, there it is. It's on the car, and I think it looks pretty good like that. It turned out better than I expected. It's not wired up yet, and I'm going to do that in a minute at the same time as I'm going to wire up this. The last modification for this video is the ESS Dual, a sound module so I can have actual engine sounds out of this car. So let's have a look at it. Alright, let's have a look in the box what we've got. Some mounting screws, a lot of brackets you can use to mount it for different cars, but this is not one of your most typical cars like the TRX4, actual SEX10, all that sort of stuff. So I won't probably need any of these. Then we have the speaker itself. Very nice. It's the dual one, so with dual speakers, so it can go a lot louder than the single version. Then we have the wire to connect it up to the car. Oh, this is just a power cable actually, I think. This is what you use to connect it to the ESC and receiver and stuff. Now you have the USB adapter, so you can upload different sounds onto the speaker. And a manual and some double-sided tape. Alright, let's figure out where I'm going to put this inside the car. So obviously it would make sense to put the speaker here in the middle, because there are some nice holes to screw something on, even though it doesn't match up with these holes, but still. It would make sense to put it here, but then you have a problem with the interior in the body, because that's it too low and the speaker doesn't fit underneath. So what I'm going to try is to move this battery tray to the front, because these holes are meant to be the same as this one, so you can move this over to the middle. And maybe I can put the speaker in the back, because the rear of the interior in the body is a little higher, so that might work. I will try. Alright, there it is. The sound module is in the car. It was quite a struggle to find a spot where it would fit. But what I essentially did is put the battery tray a little bit to the rear from where it was. It didn't work to put it in the middle, because when it's in the middle and you put a battery inside this battery compartment, it hits the interior and it just doesn't work. So I put it here in the rear, but even further back, and then I made this little plate I made out of the old body from this car. So I cut a piece out of the rear that was flat, used that as a mounting point for the sound module, and then I taped with the double-sided tape that came inside the box. I taped this plate onto the chassis, and yeah, like that it sits here. It's not ideal, but there's literally no other space to put it. It sits now like half inside of the front seats in the interior. So it's gotta do for now. Now I'm not gonna show you guys how I will program this and what sounds I'm going to choose and stuff and how to do that. I'm sure there are videos on YouTube that explain how to set this thing up. I will do that off camera, wire everything up, and then I'll show you guys what the final result is like. Alright, and there it is, the finished car. Well, at least finished for now, because I've got some more plans for in the next video, but I'll come to that later. But when I was testing this, when I got everything wired up, I noticed that the battery inside the car was hitting the interior, so I've cut a little bit out of the interior to make the battery fit properly. But now it works all fine. So yeah, let's give a quick demonstration. Put my radio on. And then the switch underneath the car. So that's all on and connected. And then I can start up the engine sound just like this. And I've just quickly unplugged the motor from the ESC, so I can just give it some revs and just give a demonstration without the car running away. So yeah. I'm not sure if this is going to be the final sound I'm going to be using, but for now it sounds pretty cool. There's the reverse sound. And I've also got a horn. I've got the horn on my channel 8 button. That's pretty cool, right? And now I've got the winch all wired up as well, obviously. With these two buttons, channel 9 and channel 10. Oh, it's getting stuck a little bit. Oh, wrong button. So yeah. Yeah, the engine sound shuts off after 30 seconds of stationary running. So yeah, that's why it's quiet right now. But yeah, winch is fully working as well. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this part of the build. But it's not the end of the series yet, because I've got even more modifications planned for in the next video. I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet. You have to wait for the next video. And after that, I'm also going to take this car to a crawler event. So I'm going to be driving it there and hopefully getting some cool shots with it. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you want to see everything coming up with this car, please subscribe to my channel. And then I'll see you in the next video. Yo!